Hey, Hebrew fans, this is Todd. Now, I know I did a lot of videos today, or at least two already, and I was just going to make one more video because people keep asking and keep giving me thumbs up on this head that I posted on a Micronaut site, and I thought, what the heck? I should just talk about this head so you guys can all know how I got it, how I made it, and how it works. Whoop, whew, it was a close one. I'm always so afraid of losing these fists. They shoot off. Kind of like the old Shogun warriors we had when we were a kid in the 70s. But he has firing fists and a firing stomach missile. Now, whenever you load these, you always want to pull it back first, then slide it in. Otherwise, you'll break the little tip in here that holds it in. Anyway, that's the little tidbit. Now, normally this guy is known as Force Commander, and he comes with this head right here. But in the comics, he was a blonde-haired hero. And this blonde-haired hero, he had blonde hair. And it's funny because I remember always reading the comics as a kid after I got the toys. I didn't get that many toys. I had like one Micronaut. It was a time traveler. But I always wanted Force Commander, Baron Karza, and their horses. I remember all the time, every Christmas, every birthday, everything, asking for those four figures. These four figures to me were like the coolest things in the world to have. Force Commander, Baron Karza, and of course their two horses. I remember one time I had a dream actually, and in this dream I got Baron Karza, Force Commander, and their two horses, and I woke up all excited, opened my closet door, and they were not there. I was like, no! I was all excited thinking that they are in there. My dream just seemed so real, and I did not get them. Now, eventually, as a young teen, I was able to acquire Baron Karza, his horse, and Force Commander's horse, but unfortunately, I did not get Force Commander. Then later on, I got the some cosmic, I forgot what it's called, but it was a knockoff brand that I saw at Toys R Us, which was made of plastic that was not as good as the regular figures. And then finally, years and years later, I have the video here on it, I finally got my Force Commander. And when I got him, I thought he's so cool, but how cool would it be to use He-Man's head? And this head in particular reminded me a lot of Force Commander. He has a lot of the muscular structure in his face and the blonde hair, and it's kind of a stylistic similar to that of Force Commander or Prince Argon. And it doesn't look like the regular He-Man you normally see, which is why I liked it too, because he could actually be a character next to my other He-Man figures, but not look like He-Man. Because normally He-Man, hold on, I got one over here, looks more like this here. And so, for some reason, in the late 80s, when they made the laser power He-Man, they made a different style head, and so Classics decided to copy that idea. And that is why we got this strange looking He-Man head, but works perfectly as Force Commander. Hello, Waldo. Thanks for joining us. Mike, thanks for being here. So, how did I make the head? So, when you pull the head off, so I can get it off without breaking it. I hate that. Sometimes when you pull it off, it will crack the torso without using hot water. So I'm not going to pull it off or make it loose. I may have just made it loose a little bit. It goes up and it's a small little hole in here that's like a divot that basically pops onto the ball joint. Well, it has no neck like the old figures did in the 80s. So when I got the new one, what I did was I took and got some nylon washers. And I used the nylon washers, and then I used a screw. And this screw is magnetic. Well, the screw's not magnetic, but it's made of steel so that it actually magnetizes to the head. Now, I noticed when I went to do this, the very first one I had, the screw was not a lot of steel. It was more of an alloy, so it didn't stick very good, and it kept popping off way too easy. So it took me a couple times to get it just right. And with those rings in there, it works really well to go along with the armor, like it's the neck piece of the armor before he puts the helmet on. And it came out really cool. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys how it looks and how I made it. So in case you decide you want to get and make your own, I have a link in the description for this. Now, I do want to go to a little bit serious topic before we continue, and then we'll transform him into a centaur. There is one of the fans here on the site, and he has ran into some calamity, and his name is Keith Brock, and he's had a tornado and a flood disaster, and he has a GoFundMe page, and there's a link in the description to the GoFundMe page. Now he was asking for his total goal to be $1,300 a lot, but he said if he can just even get $100, he'll pay for food for him and his family. If each one of us that is here right now, there's 12 of us here. If each one of us gave him even $10, he'd have his over his $100 just like that. Now I'm planning on this video's over to go on there and put some money on there. I would ask if you guys could too. That'd really be cool. The links in the description to help this guy out. I mean, we got to help the fans out, right? And if we all help each other all the time, what a better world it would be. Anyway, thanks for listening to me chat on about this guy Keith. It sounds like he has a lot of problems that have hit him all at once, and things are not very good that way. New Adventures He-Man. Yeah, he does kind of like the New Adventures He-Man, sort of, and that head may work too. Thank you, Mike. You rock. I really appreciate it. All right, now back to Force Commander. So one thing that I used to love about these toys as a kid, I thought was the coolest thing. Now, Micronauts normally, as you guys have seen in many of my other videos, are very small in comparison. And so they had a few giant figures. Now, I didn't know about all the different giant figures. When I was a kid, I just knew about just the two, Baron Karza and Force Commander, and of course their horses. But they are really quite small next to these larger figures. So here is a yellow time traveler has seen better days. And you can just see how small these figures are next to, like I said, I'll zoom this out so you guys can see, next to their large counterparts. And so it's kind of an interesting quandary because you have these larger figures. And so I used to play with them with my 80s He-Man's figures, and these are about the same size as the old 80s figures. And they were just a little bigger, which was cool. And again, I didn't have Force Commander, but I did have Baron Karza. And I used to pretend like all the He-Man figures were the giants of the land, just like Baron Karza was. And so even though this was He-Man, when I play Micronauts, this would be my Force Commander, which is kind of funny because, he's blonde and kind of looks the part, which is funny why people use the He-Man head. But what makes these so cool is this giant warhorse for this little figure here becomes his centaur when you rip off the head and you pull off his legs and stick them on there. Now, usually if the jets are on, it doesn't work very well. So usually I got to flip this over and you pull off these jets, put them back on just like that. Then you can stick them on there. And now he is a cool centaur. And I used to just love that as a kid. I used to have some pretty morbid ideas. I told my mom when I was a little kid that after I die, to bury me with a horse's half body and cut my legs off. So thousands of years from now in the future, they'll think that I was a centaur. Now, obviously, I didn't understand about DNA or anything else. I was only like 9 years old at the time. But I just thought it'd be so funny if someone digs up and finds this person and they have a half horse body and half human top half. But again, I didn't put a lot of thought into it because I guess they'd have to, kill a horse to do it, which is bad, or find a horse that just happened to pass away at the same time. I don't know why they didn't put magnets in this. That'd been so cool to bloop, just take the spare parts and make this horse head with two legs. This is his brother. He got the other half of the genes. Anyway, I used to just love that idea. And I would transform Baron Karza over and over again, just imagining the day when I finally got my Force Commander. All right, I'm going to look at your guys' comments and see where you're at. So I forgot if I have to put the comments back on. Let's see. Jamie said laughing out loud. Rick, take a shower. We'll fix the problem. What did Rick say? Anyway, so again, it's just funny. It's actually funny. As an adult, I had this dream, and in this dream, we were fighting the dog soldiers from the Micronauts comics, and And we had the Phobos unit there, which is like a giant robot with guns on its arms and stuff. And you ride inside the chest of it. And they were the bad guys. And I remember we were losing the battle. We were on top of a dresser, losing the battle. And all of a sudden, in comes Force Commander. And he's just coming in and kicking butt. Now, in my dream, he had his legs, not his horse body. And he comes flying into this jetpack, and he just starts kicking all the dog soldiers, and bam, 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 bam. And he's just, taking them all out. And then after that, the war is over, and we have won because of Force Commander. And then Force Commander, and in my dream, I was like this tall next to him. And he pulls off his helmet, and under his helmet was this blonde-haired guy, which was my older brother. And it was the coolest dream ever that my older brother, who's one of my heroes, was Prince Argon, Force Commander in my dream, who saved us all from the dog soldiers and the Phobos units and all the bad guys. And it was just the coolest dream ever. And I still think about it sometimes. And it's just cool. Anyway, now you guys know way too much about me. And that's pretty much about it. That's all this video is pretty much about. So if you like this and enjoyed it, like and subscribe. And please, again, help out our fan that's part of our page and part of you guys. And let's just make this world a better place for everybody. Thanks for joining me. And I will see you guys next video. Yeah, that's a cool figure. It's a bummer that he's not tall next to classics. I mean, he's almost the same height. But like I said, he was a little taller than the other figures back in the 80s. But he is cool. Man, so cool. Let's see. Motorex says, "Hey Todd, by the way, what'd you think of my Fright Zone comment on creating the fourth wall?" Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. I am going to do something. I haven't figured out what it is yet, but there is something in the works. But what that's going to look like or be, I'm not quite sure. Hold on a second. As I'm showing off Micronauts, I might as well show my new guy again. For those that are Micronaut fans that came from the Micronaut page, check him out. Brrr. I used the new He-Man figures and made him into Repto. And I think he's pretty cool. His gauntlets do glow in the dark. His brain does not. But he's a pretty cool figure. And you can see, of course, here's a little Repto. Anyway. Hey, Ronald. Thanks for joining us. I have available shelf for my Fright Zone. Nice. What did Mike say he's sorry to hear about? Sorry to hear Mike. I'm not sure. All right. Anyway, I will see you guys next video. Thanks for joining me. Bye now.